शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य तोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषु विघ्नस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदयादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 7, verse number 20. And we read that after Lord Brahma, who went to pacify Lord Shiva, spoke to Shiva and requested him that he should rectify the sacrifice which had been destroyed by his followers. Then Lord Shiva came to the place of sacrifice along with Brahma and the other devas and priests, and Daksha was brought back to life. And then Daksha, he realized his mistake, and by the grace of Shiva he became purified in his heart. And then he prayed to Shiva that it is his grace that he has punished him in this manner, otherwise he will suffer in hell. So after that it was described that they started to perform the sacrifice. First they purified the place because it has been polluted by the associates and followers of Shiva. And then when they took the havi, or this material which is put into the fire, and thought of the Lord, and Lord became manifest there. So now in the next 2 verses it is described how he appeared there. So in the previous verse it was said that he came riding on Garuda. Syamo hiranyarasnorka kirita justo nidalaka bhramara mandita kundalasya kambhavabja chakra sarachapa gadasi charma vyagrai hiranymaya bhujairi vakarnikara. So he appeared like a flower or whole of a flower, because he was having 8 hands, and in these 8 hands he was holding a conch, lotus disc, and bow and arrow, club, sword, and what is it called, which you use to protect yourself from the sword?
Shield.
And so on these hands he appeared like the walls of a flower, blooming flower. He was black in color, and he had a golden belt and arca kirita justo, and on his head there was a diadem which was like very shiny, appeared like a sun, and Neela Alaka Brahmara Mandita Kundalasya, and his face was very beautiful, had 2 earrings and bluish curly hair which appeared like the bumblebees on the flower-like face of the Lord. So this is how he appeared to the devotees there. This is how he looked very beautiful. Tameva varnayati syamaiti dvabhyam. So Lord is being described in 2 verses. Hiranya Rashna Kanaka Kinkanika. He had a nice golden belt around his waist. Pitambarasya Arthata Praptatvad Mukti. So that it is not said here that he was wearing yellow dress. So because it is understood, therefore not said in the verse directly. Rashna Sabdena Vastram Va Lakshaitabhi. Or the word Rashna, this word which is used for belt, signifies golden dress. Means golden. Araktulyo Ujjwal Kirita Yukta. And his diadem was just like sun. And Neela Alka Eva Brahmaras Tair Mandita Kundala Yukta Masyamyasya. His curly hair are compared to the bumblebees, and he had 2 earrings. Brahmar Padena Asyasya Padmatvam. So why this analogy of bumblebee is given for the hair? So this indicates that his face was like lotus, because the bees go around the lotus flower. So to indicate that, Kundalayos Asta Prafuli Karanartham Agatiyo Suryatvam. And these earrings, they are like making the lotus bloom. Those lotus blooms when the sun rises, and when sun sets, the lotus closes. Kambhavadibhir ayudhair bhritya rakshartham vyagrai. And he had all these weapons in his hand to protect his devotees, and he was very eager for that. Hiranmayai kanaki kayura kankana mudrikadi matvena kanakmayir bhujai. So his arms are also called golden, but golden, not the arms were golden because he is blackish in color. So because he had ornaments on his arms made of gold. He has bracelets, armlets, and also rings. So he appeared golden arms. Pushpitaha Karnikaraiva Shobhamana. He appeared like a blooming flower. Yadva Kambhavadini Hastagrasthitatvad Vishishtani Agrani Yeshu Tathabhuta Hiranmaya Bhuja Eva Prathamam Atishayotva Ashtaiva Dalani Taisogomana Karnikara Tamil Raja. So this word Karnikara, there is in the world of flower is also called Karnikara, even flower also Karnikara. It can also mean lotus, and then he is comparing that his 8 hands are like the 8 petals of the lotus flower. So it appeared like that. Karnikam rati dadati iti vitpatya va karnika shabdena padma vidam. So although karnika does not mean lotus flower, but is given that meaning that lotus flower which has karnika, the central part, is called karnika. So these hands signify that he wants to protect and bless his devotees. And now he is coming with 8 hands, probably because there were 2 parties, so he needed more power to make both sides satisfied. Vakshashyadhishitavadhupur vadhurvanamalyadara hasavlokakalyaramiyansa vishwam parshva brahmadevajana chamara rajhamsa svetatapatra shasino parirajyamanaha. So it's further described that there was a white umbrella on his head. And he had Vakshasi Adhisrita Vadhur, this mark of Lakshmi, his consort on his chest, in the form of golden streak of hair on the left side. And he had a flower garland, one mala, Udara Hasa Avloka Kalya Raman Samsa. And he had a very beautiful smile on his face, by which he was giving pleasure to everybody, actually, to all the people present there. And Parshva Brahmada Vejana Chamara Rajhamsa. And on his 2 sides, there were 2 of his associates who were moving the chamara, which appeared like a swan, 2 swans moving white in color. And then Svetata Patra Sasinopari Vajjaman, and top that was the white umbrella, which appeared like a moon. So Vadhur Lakshmi, the word Vadhu here means Lakshmi. Udarayor Mahamadhurya Ratna Varshino Hasav Lokayo. So Udar, his very generous smile, it was just like as if he was showering the gems of sweetness. Kalaya Vedagdhya Vishwameva Ramyan Kim Punar Bhaktan, and he was giving pleasure to the whole universe. What to speak of his devotees. Parshvayor Brahmati Vajana Chamare. On 2 sides there were the Vajan, the fan, and the Chamara. Eva Rajhanso Yasmin se, which looked like 2 swans. Svet Atpatram Eva Shashi, and the umbrella is like the moon. Tena uparistite naiti sarvopari shashi tattale virat rupa arkaha tattale asya rupam kamalam tat parshva dvaya nrityate kundal rupam punar arka dvayam tat parshva dvaya chamar rupa hans dvaya. So now he explained the whole analogy that on top of everything was the moon, the umbrella, and below that is the sun in the form of his diadem, and below that is his face, which is like a lotus, which lotus blooms in the rays of the sun. And then you have two earrings, which are again like two suns. And then you have two swans on each side, because swans, they go to lotus. Swans are very fond of lotus flowers. Mukh Kamal Tale Lakshmi Rupa Vidyut, and below his lotus face is the lightning in the form of Lakshmi. Sarva Samuditam Punar Ashtadalam Ekam Kamalam. And then he has this 8 petals. So in this way the whole body of the Lord appeared like a big lotus flower with 8 petals and face and moon and sun. Chandra Arka Vidyuda Brahmara Hansa Chakra Gada Pani Padma Chapa Shara Charma Asi Yuktam Atyadbhutam Sa Vishnu Radrishyata. So he was seen in this most wonderful manner, that there is moon, sun, lightning, bumblebees, swans, conch, disc, club, lotus, then bow and arrow, and the shield and sword. So this is how he appeared in that assembly. So how did they react to this? He says, Tamupagatam malakshya sarve surganadayaha pranemu sahasa utthaya brahmendra trakshanayakaha. After seeing him arrived there, then all the gods, headed by Brahma, Shiva and Indra, these 3 leaders, they suddenly stood up and bowed down to him. So now Supreme Lord has come. So this also shows that although previously there was glorification of Shiva, but now Shiva, including Brahma and Indra and everybody, is paying obeisance to Vishnu, because he is the Supreme Person. Tattejasa hata ruchaha sanna jibha sasadvasaha murdhana dhritanjali puta upatasthura dhokshajam. By the brilliance of the Lord, their own effulgence was subdued, and they were unable to speak. They became speechless, just looking at him suddenly appearing there. And they were like anxious in their mind, what is to be done. So what they did, Murdhana Dhritanjali Puta, they folded their hands and put it on the head and stood in front of him, giving him respect. Apyarvag vrittayo yasya mahi tvatma bhuvadayaha yathamati grunanti sma kritanugraha vigraham. So their mind cannot fathom the limit of the Lord, of His glories. So these people headed by Brahma, they started praying to the Lord according to their own intelligence. Lord who had appeared there in this gracious form, out of His grace. Daksho grihita arhana sadanottamam yagyeshwaram visvasridam param gurum sunandanadhyanu gairvritam madaganan prapede pratay kritanjali. So first of all, Daksha, he started praying to the Lord, because he is the host. So Daksha, he has this pot in his hand to offer worship to the Lord, and Lord took the pot. So Yageshwaram Visvasrijam Param Gurum, because he is the master of the sacrifice, he is the creator of the universe, and he is the supreme teacher of the world. He was surrounded by his associates such as Sunanda, Nanda, etc. So Daksha with folded hands took shelter of the Lord and spoke as follows. Grihita Maranam asadhanottamam yatra tadyatha syat tatha sadhanam patram grihitva iti chapat. So it seems that when he had this pot in his hand, the Lord accepted it in his own hand. And then he is praying. So now
he manifested more hands to accept it. Or he had to put something down.
2 hands are empty. You have to count how many things are there. So what did he have in his hands? He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. If you take the bow and arrow separate, then he has no empty hands. He was holding it in one hand and he has one hand available. Maybe his associates gave something to them. So Daksha, now he says this. Daksha said, Suddham swadhamni parata kil buddhyavastham chinmatram ekam abhayam pratishidhya mayam tishtantaya eva purushаттvam upetta tasyam Aste bhavan parishuddhaiva atmatantra. He says that you are pure and swadhamani uparata khila buddhi avastham. You are situated in your own abode, and by keeping the Maya away from you, you remain in your own abode, in your own form. Chinmatram ekam, and you are completely transcendental and abhayam, free from fear. Tishtantaya eva purushаттvam upetta tasyam. And then you also become situated in your Maya by taking the form of a Purusha. Bhavan aparishuddha eva atmatantra. And therefore you appear as if you are not pure, although you are self-controlled or independent, not depending on anybody. Suddham chinmatram eva bhavan mayam pratisiddhya swadhamni swarupe tishtaneva. So you are absolutely pure and controlling your own Maya. You remain situated in your own form. Taeva Maya Purushattvam Manushya Natyam Upetya. And then by the power of the same Maya, you perform your human-like activities. Tasyam Mayayam Ram Krishnadi Avtareshu. And then you manifest your avatars as Ram, Krishna, etc. Aparishuddha eva ragadimani eva aste. And you appear as if you are not transcendental, but you also have attachments, anger, etc. Atas tameva ishvaro vidya upadhir anye tvavidya upadhiyo rudradhyas tadrishtya manusya natyam kurvanto abhinetum na jananti. And therefore you are the Ishvara, having the upadhi of vidya or knowledge or conditioning of knowledge, and the others, they have the conditioning of avidya or ignorance, such as Rudra, etc. And therefore they are not able to understand you when you perform your activities like a human being. Swasure mai sabhayam atmaramatvam prakashitvantaha. So you manifested the quality of being self-realized in my father-in-law, in my assembly. That is when Shiva was sitting and Daksha entered and he kept sitting there. Tvam tu svasuram satrajitam mritva sutva ahona paramam kashtam ityasraksho vilepati. But in your case, when your father-in-law was killed, Satrajit, then you were crying. When Satrajita was killed, Satyabhama's father, then Lord Krishna has said, "Oh na paramam kastam ityasvaksha vilepatu." That, oh, this is very painful, and then he had tears in his eyes. Iti Satyabhama sannidhau sarama eva arodit. So then in the association of Satyabhama, he cried along with Balaram. Tene kim tav atmaramatvam prachutam. Says, does it mean that you lost your quality of being an Atmarama, self-realized, or one who takes pleasure in self? Iti Bhagavan eva akhil kala vichakshanae iti punarapi Sri Rudra Kataksha. So he says, certainly not. And he says that therefore only Lord is the most expert person that who can perform all this. Iti punarapi Sri Rudra Kataksha. So in this way, he is being sarcastic to Lord Shiva. What he is trying to say is that when I entered into the assembly, when Shiva, he behaved as if he is an Atmarama. And therefore, being an Atmarama, he was not concerned that I have come. He acted as if he is oblivious of what is happening externally. In case of you, you did not do that. When your father-in-law was killed, you could have also remained like an Atmarama, not becoming disturbed, right? You are even a bigger Atmarama, but you did not do that. You are behaving like a normal person, and if somebody dies in the family, then you are crying. And there are tears in your eyes. So he said that you are more expert than Shiva in showing your Atmarama quality. That you can act appropriately in the situation and not cause a problem. He said he is Atmarama, or he is actually not even saying that he is Atmarama. He said that you manifested Atmarama characteristic in him. But look, he created problem. If he would have stood up and behaved like a normal person, although Atmarama, then all this problem would not have come. So because of this behavior of Shiva, then we all get into trouble. So this way, Vishwanath Chakravarti says that he is being sarcastic towards Lord Shiva while praying like this. And therefore he says that you are Chinmatra, you are transcendental, and you come inside Maya by the power of Maya. So here he says that Purushottam Upeta Tasyam Asta, you also exist within Maya by becoming a Purusha. So he says that Sri Rudra Parada Sheshanaiva Bhagavad Vigrahe Maikatva Buddhirapiti. That this Daksha has not yet become completely free from the offense to Shiva. And therefore he is praying like this and also thinking that this form of the Lord when he manifests is not transcendental. He stays in his transcendental form in his own abode, but when he comes to the material world, he also takes a material form. Because this is the philosophy of Advaitvatis, followers of Sankaracharya, they say that Maya has got two divisions. One is the division of knowledge, another is the division of ignorance. Maya contains Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So he said that the supreme reality, when it is conditioned by Sattva, that is called Bhagavan. And when supreme reality is conditioned by Rajas and Tamas, that is called Jiva. So both individual living beings, the Jivas, and the forms of God in this world, they both are made of Maya, material energy. They do not consider that the form of God is transcendental. So that was the meaning when he said that Tamev Ishvara Vidya Upadhi. You have the Upadhi of Vidya, knowledge or Sattva, and the others, including Shiva, Brahma and other living beings, they have the Upadhi or conditioning of Avidya or ignorance. So this also he says because of the offense. Still not understanding. Kincha swadhamni vaikunthe tishthane taya eva maya sahita purushatvam mahat srashti rupam upetya tasyam mayam maikesu samashti vashtisu cha aste antaryami rupena vasati. And therefore you, while situating yourself in Vaikuntha, by your Maya, you enter into the Maya itself, this creation, and which Maya which manifests as Mahat Tattva, etc. So through Maya only you enter inside Maya, and then also you enter into every living being as the Super Soul, Paramatma. Yaduktam Vishnuastu Trini Rupani Purushakhyani Yatho Vidu Ekam tu Mahata Srashti Dvitiyam tu Anda Sanstitam Tritiyam Sarvabhutastam Tyami Gyatva Vimuchyate. As it is said that Vishnu has three forms. First is called the Purusha. All of three are called Purusha. The first one is the one who creates the Mahata, Mahatattva from Prakriti. And the second is one who enters in the universe. And third is who is situated in every living being. So one who understands these three becomes liberated. Aparishuddha eva natu aparishuddha. And therefore you are like impure but not actually impure. Mayayam sthitopi tat sambandha bhavat iti bhava. Although situated in Maya, you are not having any relationship with it. Iti to vastavartha. This is the true meaning of the words. So in other words, what is saying is that the true meaning is not that Lord, when He is having avatar or manifesting here in this material world, He does not have a material body. One should not think that He has a material body. Although Daksha said like this. This is the real meaning. Then after that, the Ritwij, the priests, they said, Ritwija Uchu, Tattvam nate vayamananjana rudra shapat Karmanyavagradhiyo bhagavan vidamaha Dharmopalakshanam vidam trividadvarakyam Gyatam yadarthamadideva madogavastha. Says that, O Ananjana or pure one, we do not understand your truth. Why? Because of the curse of Rudra. So now Rudra is again being blamed. Because Shiva did not curse, but his followers cursed. If you remember, they said that all these people, you will just remain in the materialistic activities and not understand the reality. So it says, we are just absorbed karmani avagrahadhiyo. Our attachment is only to this karmakanda part of the Vedas, performing these activities for material gains. And we do not understand your truth. Dharmoplakshanam idam trivida advarakyam. So this sacrifice which we are performing, this is described in the 3 Vedas. And this is supposed to have the definition of dharma or characteristic of dharma. Yadartham adidaivam ado vyavastha. And it is for this reason that in the Vedas there are various injunctions that you do this, perform activities like this. All this vyavastha, the process is described. So in the Vedas there are 2 major parts. One is the part which is dealing with the ritualistic ceremonies, and this is the majority of the Veda. And the other is the part which talks about the philosophy. So majority of the people, they are participating only in the ritualistic part. And that ritualistic part is very complicated. To understand that, you have to become devoted to this, you have to study all these rituals have to be performed. Because there is a lot of logic behind it. And there is an order in which it has to be done. If it is not done in the proper order or using proper material, chanting proper mantra, then you don't get the benefit. So one has to become completely devoted or absorbed to that. So that's what they are saying, that karmani avagrahadhiyo, that our mind, our intelligence is totally occupied by these activities. So then these people don't have time for studying the other part of the Vedas, which is the philosophical part. And they are saying that this is because of the curse of Shiva that we are in this situation. So when somebody commits offense, an offense does not leave easily. That is the point. That although they have come to their senses, but still, because that samskar is there, now they may not be offending Shiva directly, but indirectly they are still getting on his case. Hey Ananjana Maya Upadi Rahita. So they are saying that you are free from the conditioning of Maya, therefore they are better than Daksha. They are saying that this Daksha, he does not even understand this much. So Daksha was more offensive, therefore he was in more ignorance. Nandishwar Shapat Karmani Duragraha Dhiyo Vayampi Na Vidma. He says, because of the curse of Nandishwara, servant of Lord Shiva, we do not have good intelligence because it is occupied in the karma, ritualistic activities. Therefore we do not know you. Daksha katham gyasyati. So how can Daksha know? Because the priests, they know better than the host. The host is inviting the priest to do the ceremony. So the priests are more educated. So he says that if we do not know, how can he know? So this way they are being sarcastic towards Daksha. Tarihi kim janitha iti tatrahu. He said, then what do you know? There is something you must know. So he said, yes, we know. What do we know? They are saying that dharma uplakshate anena iti tatra trivrit traipatipadyam advaratam. He says, all we know is this sacrifice, which is described in the Vedas, and it is supposed to be the purpose of dharma. Because if you study Purvamimamsa of Gemini, then it's like the Vedanta Sutras start with Athato Brahma Jigyasa, that now we inquire into the absolute reality. Purvamimamsa starts Athato Dharma Jigyasa, that now we inquire into what is Dharma, the religious principles. And what he explains as Dharma is the injunctions of the Vedas to perform these sacrifices. So his conclusion is that doing this yajna is the Dharma. That's what they are referring here, that this Trayi, which is a name for the three Vedas, they are talking about sacrifice. Tab swarupam eva gyatam asmami. He says, as far as we are concerned, we think that this is your form. Means God is yajna. So tasmat brahmam yajna pratishtitam. Yajnat bhavanti parjanam yajna karma samudhava karan brahmod bhavam vidhi brahma karam yajna pratishtitam. So the Vedas, they are situated in yajna. And yajna is the form of God, yajna vai Vishnu. Yadartham adhidevam ado vyavastha. Yasya siddhe adhidevam devadhikarne ado vyavastha iyamatra devata iti amum vyavastha bhavanti. So there is one chapter called Devadhikaram in the Purvamimamsa. And there it is described that who is the Devata for this particular part. So he says that's all we know, we don't know anything more than that. Then Sadasya Uchuhu. Then the other members of the sacrifice who are also there, they speak, the sages. And the sages will come later on, these are just other members. Tatpatyadhvanya sarana uruklesa durgayanta kogravyalan vishte vishamra vitrashyatma geho bhara dvanda sabhre kalamriga bhaye sokadavegya sartha padau kasate sharanada kadayati kamo pisrishtaha. Says that Utpatti Adhvani Asarane Uruklesa Durge Antaka Ugra Vyalan Vishte Vishamrita Vishamrita Atma Geho Rubhara. He said that this world is consisting of birth and death, and there is no shelter here. And Dvandva Sabre, it has the ditches of duality. Heat and cold, happiness, distress, day, night, all dualities. And Khalamriga Bhaye. And here there is always fear from the wicked animals. The human beings who are like animals, wicked and malicious, we have to always fear them. Uruklesha Durga, and it is like a prison. We are completely caught in it, cannot get out of it. Antaka Ugra Vyalan Vishte, and there is always fear of snake in the death, in the form of death. Vishya Mrig Trishya Atma Gehurubha. And then on top of that we have the burden of maintaining our family and running after the material desires. Shoka Dave, and there is a fire inside, fire of grief. So Agyasartha, and then we have the association of ignorant fellows. So Padaukaste Saranada Kadayati Kamashaste. In this way, being completely preoccupied with material desires, how can we get shelter of your lotus feet? This is what they are saying. Utpatti dhvani sansar marge, this path of birth and death, asharane vishram sunye, and there is no relief here. All the time, birth, death, birth, death. Dandvani sukh dukkhadini eva swabhrani garta yasmi. And there are ditches here in the form of material happiness and distress. And khalayeva mriga vyagradaya. And there are dangerous, ferocious animals here like tiger in the form of wicked human beings. Tebhyo bhayam yasmin. So therefore there is always fear. Shoka eva davagnir yatra. And grief is the forest fire here. Ajnanam samuha. And then we have the association of ignorant fellows. Te padav kada yati yasyati nai prapsyasi. So how can we attain your feet? It is not possible. Techa gyaha samprati dakshas tadiya ritvik adeya eva ita drishyante iti dakshadisu kataksa. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says that who are these ignorant fellows? He says these are all these Daksha and his followers. So they are being sarcastic now to all of them. So the next one is being sarcastic to the previous one. The priest was being sarcastic to Daksha, Daksha was being sarcastic to Shiva, and now these people are being sarcastic to Daksha and his followers. So he says, we have been caught in the association of these fools. Therefore, how can we reach you? He Sharanadaya, he Ashrayaprada, Tvam yadi sa naiv ashrayate tada tvaya kim kartavyamiti bhava. So he says that you are the giver of the shelter, and if these foolish people don't take your shelter, then what can you do? It's not your mistake. Kidrishaha vishaya rupa mrigatrishna yasmin tada tatha bhuta atma deho ayantaspada geham chavuru bhavyas. He says these people are carrying a big burden on their back in the form of house, identifying with their bodies, and then full of desires which are like the mirage in the water. That you try to get this water in the mirage, you never get it. When you approach it, it moves further and further. So you think that I am going to get this desire, then I'll be happy, I'll get this, I'll be happy. But you never become satisfied. So therefore, kamena upsrishta, we are always troubled by the material desires. So then, how can there be shelter at your feet? So now Rudra is speaking. Let's see what he is going to say. Tav vardha varangha vishesha ihakhilarthe yapi muni virasaktai radarena haruniye yadirachita dhiyam ma vidyalokopavidham japati naganaye tattva paranugrahena. So he says that you are the giver of boons, Varada. And Varangrahu Ashisha Iha Akhil Arthi. Your feet, they supply all the blessings to people. Munibhir asaktair adarein arnahi. The great sages who are not interested in material pleasures, they worship these feet. Yadi rachit dhyam ma vidyaloko vidham japati nagani. But those people who are implicated in material sense enjoyments, if they, by the power of ignorance, do not see this and remain entangled in materialistic activities, and if they talk nonsense about me, then I don't care. na gale tattva paranugrahena. Because of blessings of you that I remain fixed in your lotus feet. So he is saying that आशीषा कामेन हेतुना अखिलार्थे अखिल अर्थ दात्री अपि असक्ते निष्कामे अरणीय. So he says that Lord actually can supply all the needs of people. But still people, because of avidya, they do not take to his feet or do not take shelter of Lord's feet. Although he is Varangarav, he can give all boons. Ashesahi akhilarthe. Only the sages, they understand, therefore they worship his feet with great honor and respect. Asakta niskami arniya sevitu maryangrav rachita dhyam avashit buddhi. When those people who are absorbed in materialistic things, then they don't take to his feet. Na vidyate vidya jnanam yasya tata bhuto loko dakshadir yadi apvidham achar bhrashtam japti. So therefore these people like Daksha, if they speak some unpalatable words, then tadapi tajjalpanam tavya paranugrahastat paranam vanugrahastena nagani. Then by your grace or by the grace of your devotees, I do not mind these words. So, in other words, he is saying that whatever Daksha did to me, I am not bothered about it. And we should not worry that Daksha has, why he did like this, or we should punish him, anything like that. So he has also made his point clear. Then Bhrigu Ruvacha, then Bhrigu said, Yanumaya Gehanya Prita Atma Bodha Brahmadayas Tanubritas Tamasi Swapantaha Natmanam Sitam Tam Vidanti Adunapi Tattvam Soyam Prasidatu Bhavan Pranataya Atma Bandhu. And Bhrigu is speaking very directly, not hiding or indirectly. He said that these people like Brahma and other embodied beings, they are all sleeping in darkness, losing their knowledge of the self because of your Maya. And therefore they do not take shelter of you, O Lord. And even up till now they don't know your tattva or your reality. You are the friend of those who are surrendered to you. Therefore, I pray that you please be gracious on me. So he has cut everybody. He said, Brahmadayati Sri Rudra Kataksha. So he is saying Brahma, etc. But Vishwanath Chakravarti says that actually he is pointing to Rudra, Shiva. Because Brahma is his father, and he had problem with Shiva because Shiva's servants took away his moustache. And now he got the goat moustache. So instead of saying directly to Rudradaya, he could have said Rudradaya, that Rudra, etc. So he says Brahmadaya. Tamsi swapanta itite avidyagrasta eva. So they are all under the influence of avidya. Atman sritam swaprakasam tattvam adhunapi navidanti na jani. So he says even now they don't understand you. Not that they are speaking nicely, still they are not understanding you. And iti abhiman grasta anyena avagyanino vadanti iti bhava. And therefore, out of pride, they are calling others as ignorant. Because Shiva in the previous verse he said that these people are ignorant, and like Daksha, and if out of ignorance they say something unpalatable, then I don't mind it. So he says that he is being very proud, calling Daksha as ignorant and himself as very tolerant, but actually he does not understand you. This is what he is hitting at. So you see, even at this level there is subtle politics goes. That they are standing in front of the Lord, and yet they are trying to get even with each other, even while praying to Him. So this shows that the impurities of the heart, they don't go away so easily. Unless one takes complete shelter of the Lord and is fully devoted to the Lord, then only one becomes free from envy. So that's why in the Bhagavatam it is said in the very beginning, Nirmat Saranam Satam, that this Bhagavad Dharma or this path of love is understood only by people who are absolutely free from envy. And since they are not, so they are trying to be sarcastic at each other.
They're blaming the others.
Yeah. And only Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is making this point, because I saw other commentary, nobody seeing it like that. So, and this shows that the offensive mentality does not go away so easily. It will not go away unless one becomes fully devoted to the Lord. Because as long as one remains identifying with the body and has material desires, the person is bound to make offenses. It is inevitable. So that's what he is making, this very subtle point. And he says that this is being sarcastic. So they are out of pride, they are calling others as ignorant. Prasidatu aham tu aparadhi yatharthavaditvad bhavami eva iti bhava. He says, please give your grace to me, I am an offender, I am not blaming anybody, I am just speaking the truth. And by speaking the truth, I am also being offender. Because by saying the truth is also creating an offense. So he says, aham tu aparadhi yatharthavaditvad bhavami eva. That I am definitely an offender because I am saying the bitter truth. So Bhrigu was also the person who went to check who is the supreme among the three gods. So he is known for that.
Prabhu, why is it offensive to say the truth?
Because you are also criticizing. If somebody is blind and you say, oh, you blind fellow, so are you not offending that person? Or somebody is lame and you say, oh, you one-legged guy.
But it depends what is the mood behind it.
What is the mood? You call a blind man a blind man, he will be unhappy. You are not displeasing that person. Right? Somebody has a big belly and you say, oh, you big belly. How you feel? Maybe the truth. But you don't like it. So aham tu aparadhi yatharthvaditvad bhavami eva iti bhava. Bhavanstu na brahmavadinam napi madvidhanam kintu pranatanam namra svabhavanam akinchananam bandha. So he has used one word here for the Lord. He says pranatatma bandhu, that he is friend of those who are devoted to him. So therefore he says that you are not friend of those who are Brahmavadi, following the impersonal truth, or people like me who are devoted to the sacrifices, but only to those who are humble Namraso.
Prabhu saying this?
Yeah. Those who are humble, Pranat means surrendered. So, humbly surrender to you and do not have any other motive in their mind, akinchan. Tadapi prasidatu madapradham imam kshamyati. Still, I am praying to you that you please be gracious on me and forgive my offense. So this is also shows that whatever is the nature, it does not go away so easily, that although he knows this, that this is an offense, still he is speaking it and then asking for forgiveness. Could have also said something else, but he wants to only say this because he has to say it. He is hearing what others have said and does not want to lose the opportunity. So I'll stop here.
Earlier we heard from Kapila, right? That, or I think in his instructions to Devahuti, that one cannot perceive the Supreme Lord unless he is pure. And we know Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. So how is it that these people whose prayers indicate that they're actually not pure, how is it that Vishnu is appearing before them?
Well, perceiving is in two ways. Perceiving, as he says, knowing the Tattva, knowing the Lord as He is, and then perceiving in the way they are perceiving. So there are different ways of seeing the Lord. The way a devotee sees is one way, a non-devotee sees in another way, because comes also saw Krishna. So here, because the process is described in the Vedas, that you perform sacrifice and if it is done properly, then Lord becomes manifest. So he is just becoming manifest like that. But as he becomes manifest, he will become unmanifest, and these people, they pray to him and then they go back and they are also not interested in him. So this is not the same perception as described Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santaisva Sada Hirdayasu Sada Hirdayasu, always. So they are not going to see him like that. So it is more like a ritual that he comes like one of the personalities on the sacrifice, and then he goes, he takes his share and goes, like he took the pot in his hand, and then he will disappear smiling. So just the process of karma kanda, and it is because the Lord himself has established it like that. So then it's as if he is bound to follow that.
It doesn't appear that they underwent a change. It's like when Dhruva Maharaj, when the Lord appeared to Dhruva, it seems he underwent like a transformation, no?
Right.
So because he was in a higher level, right, that he had perceived more of the Lord.
Also he was doing like a sakam bhakti. They are doing
Karma.
even if it is karma, even if it is niskam karma, it is not bhakti. So even in karma kanda part, Lord can become manifest, but his manifestation here is also within the range of karma. Means he comes to give his blessings and then he goes away. He also appeared in the sacrifice of Prithu Maharaj, but that was different because he was a devotee. So Prithu Maharaj gave up. He was also angry at Indra because Indra was coming and stealing the horse. So he stopped the sacrifice. He said, okay, I will not do it because Lord said, why you didn't? So that is devotee. So seeing the Lord is not just seeing with the eye, but seeing with the eye of devotion, premanjana. Shrita bhakti vilochana. Bhakti means devotion and vilochana means eye, the eye of devotion. That is the real way of seeing Him. So they are not seeing in the eye of devotion. So that's why you see that in these prayers, many times you will see that they come and they recite nice prayers, but then they go back and they continue the same lifestyle.
It's like Daksha now. Now he curses Narada.
So it's again same like a ritual. Like you chant mantras. So those mantras also have the meaning of surrender and worship of the Lord. But you chant it and you give it up, go and do whatever you are doing.
So in our sadhana, and we're still in this world, we're still interacting in this material world, and if we're still in a place of ignorance, how can we even trust our faculties of discrimination to such a degree to know that our endeavor is not material at all?
And that's why there is need of training. See, in this, that is also another contrast here, that when you see this part of Karma Kanda, they have their priests which are also treated like Guru, but they are only guiding them only for that ceremony, then they go away. And people follow their regular life. So when you take to spiritual life, or path of devotion, then you have a teacher and you live under the guidance of the teacher. That's why there is need of guidance. Otherwise our past samskaras overtake, as is happening in this case. A very nice, very subtle observation which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is making. And I always see that Jiva Goswami and he, they bring out very fine points because they are devotees, they understand the essence of Bhagavatam very nicely. So they are studying the mentality which is depicted here. Ultimately they are all devotees. Brahma is a devotee, Brahma is devotee, Shiva is also devotee. But it is a depiction of the mind that even at this level such impurities they continue if one is not with pure motive of anyavilasita sunya. There is any other desire, Ishwar bhav, desire to lord over, enjoy, then these things will continue and you will commit offense and it will continue. One thing leads to another thing. So as he was mentioning, this, the same Daksha will commit now another offense to Narada. He will curse him.
This mentality is something like we go on this type of sage. They want to somehow be the better ones, and
They want to?
They compare themselves, because this sarcasm which is created there, it shows that there is some kind of personal...
Yeah, as long as you are in the material world, there is always envy. It will always prop up, sooner or later. In your philosophical mind, or when you are in trouble, it will go down, as in case of Daksha, because now he got the stick, so he is humble. But don't think that he will remain like this all the time, unless one becomes a devotee. Unless one takes shelter of Lord completely with pure heart, then this thing will again come back. Because you identify with the body and then there are needs, bodily needs, and then for bodily needs you have to compete with others. And then it's not just bodily needs, then you have your ego, you want to be supreme in the society, you want to be praised, you want followers, you want to be known as a glorious person. So then if someone else is also trying that, then you feel hurt and you want to pull that person down, attack him, criticize him, or do something to obstruct his path, his progress. So you continue.
How about with wanting to cultivate inspiration that is spontaneous? So where is that line between wanting to perceive a proper example and let our endeavors arise naturally in our hearts versus just asking point blank, like, I don't know what to do, just tell me? Is there certain cases when one dominates the other?
Yeah, as the time passes, then you also understand things. You are able to analyze your own self. Because of our past samskaras and desires, many of them are lying hidden in the seed form. And we are not able to very clearly see ourselves. Because they color our vision. Our discrimination is polluted by that. So as you continue performing service, especially in the form of hearing, then it cleans the heart. And then you start seeing yourself, your own defects you start observing, which is also very painful because you don't like that. So that is the very troublesome process one has to go through. Everybody has to go through this. If one is sincere to become devotee and advance, then one has to go through this painful process. It's like getting an operation done on your some cancerous part, it's troubling. So these things have to be given up. That is like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying that you have to kill them. So these are all attachments, because these are all our own babies. These defects which we have, they have also given us some pleasure in the past. We have relished them. So they are our own creations. And now to give them up is not easy. So our own intelligence will try to rationalize that how they are helpful. That's why one has to be sincere and also take guidance. By our own mind, we will start rationalizing our defects. But we don't want to see our own defects. And if you see your own defect, then you are troubled. You have to give it up and you are attached to that thing. Because in the past, you have enjoyed it. So, Sutra Sukha Anusayi Raga. What is Raga? Sukha Anusayi. You get a feeling of happiness, you enjoy something. And Anusayi means which sleeps after that. So when you enjoy something, then the experience of that sleeps inside you. That this I liked. That is called raga, that is called attachment, that samskara, that impression which is created. And that will impel you to do it again. So it may be an act of tricking somebody and then realizing that, stealing, cheating, illicit relation, anything. So when you enjoy them, then they create samskaras and then they impel you to do it again. So when you realize that this is wrong, then you have to give it up. So to give it up, you have to first know it yourself. But because you liked it in the past, that feeling of liking will rebel now, not to give it up. As Arjuna is rebelling, so they are my relatives, how can I kill them? They are worthy of my respect. Means this defect which I have to actually worship it. I have to groom it. So Krishna has to speak, and he is hearing and removing his doubt. Then says, yes, now I understand. Now my brain is working. Labdha smriti nashto moha tat prasadam maya achyuta. So he says, now I can see things. My memories come back. Nashto moha labdha smriti. So my confusion is gone. So that confusion goes by hearing and by deliberating on it and practicing also. 3 things have to be done. You have to hear, deliberate and remove the doubts, and also practice.
Babaji, when they describe the Supreme Lord's color as black, do they mean that his complexion is like yours, or that it's black like your bag?
Well, it's described like the rain cloud.
The rain cloud?
Sham, Mega Sham. Mega means cloud. Sham is black.
So this dark cloud that comes before the rain.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that Daksha made a very serious offense and was punished. And then when after Lord Shiva revived him and gives him a head, the goat's head, and he speaks, then he doesn't, he expresses that I was punished by Lord Shiva. This is another qualification that makes me special, that I was favored by him. And he doesn't consider himself unqualified, according to his own words, right? He doesn't consider himself unqualified, even though he made an offense. So this indicates attachment to the position of being the chief of the Prajapati, right?
Yes.
So he's attached to that position. And
That's
actually,
why he's being sarcastic, what he's saying.
he's actually not qualified for that position, but he doesn't want to give up the position because of the social respect that he gets by holding that position.
Even having a goat head.
Doesn't matter to him. But if we contrast his attitude to Maharaj Yudhishthira's, who made a much smaller mistake, by, say, fighting against his relatives or fighting against his guru, and his attitude is, I'm unfit for the position to sit on the throne, right?
Yes.
He has an actual attitude of humility. He is a higher devotee. Whereas these other people made a greater offense, and they still think of themselves qualified to hold their titles.
Yes, that's visible. Okay.
Did you get a mobile phone yet?
I did, but there's a little bit of an issue.